Well, good morning. It's actually a pretty nice morning out here. Looks like snow drifts aren't too bad out here this morning. It was blowing pretty crazy last night. Anyways, we got a pail of coconut milk to feed to the pigs. Seems like a strange thing to feed to the pigs, right? Carmen went to Costco the other day and picked up this case of coconut milk. She's making like chia pudding or something like that. Anyways, as you do, it stays in the refrigerator. As I mean the refrigerator, I mean in her vehicle for 2 days to freeze, and then brought it in the house, tried to defrost it, and it became like unconstituted, like completely separated. Looks like curdled milk, and yeah, despite all our efforts, we're unable to get that back together. So we're gonna feed it to the pigs. Good morning, piggies! Gonna dump some feed out of this dry feeder. As you can see, they got it tipped over and the snow has gone in there. So it's not gravity feeding very well because now there's moisture in the bottom of that tub. And I'll feed some sheep, feed the horses, the sheep in behind the shop. I'm not gonna feed them this morning. I'll explain that later as to why. Burrito, how are you, bud? Hi, Eeyore. What you doing? Just out here doing donkey stuff, eh? Got some scratches? Oh yeah, good boy. Let's get you guys some grain treats. Oh, Eeyore. Hey, there's the big fella. How are you? I'm just over here now at the compost pile. As you can see, composting in northern Alberta is maybe not the easiest thing to do because it wants to freeze, and that was the problem we had when it was over there, is we didn't have a good carbon and nitrogen balance, we didn't have good enzyme activity, and it froze rock solid to the core. So I've stirred this pile up a few times, and I just want to reach in here and just see if there's any kind of heat coming off of in here. And yeah, already I'm only in 6 or 8 inches and it's warm. Yeah, like that's easily 45 degrees just right there inside the pile. It's pretty incredible to see the microbial activity as it breaks down this organic material into soil. And yeah, I'm not even gonna I'm gonna continue doing chores. I'm not gonna wash my hands. You might think, well, that's kind of counterintuitive. Like, you get cow shit on your hands, why would you not want to wash your hands? But believe it or not, the human body, there's trillions upon trillions of microbes on your body. In fact, there's more viral and microbial DNA in your body than there is actual human DNA. There's only like 1% of, of the microbial activity on your body or in your body that is not beneficial. So every time you're using all the hand sanitizer, every time you're Lysol on your countertops, you're killing all the good stuff as well. Anyways, I am just gonna cover this back up. I'm very encouraged to see that the compost pile is still cooking, still doing what it's supposed to be doing, despite the fact that everywhere around it is cold and covered in snow. Well, as you know, yesterday we got a new addition to the farm, little Miss Mittens here, and we've already had our first mishap. So we spent the night in the bathroom over there and somehow managed to get out and in and around the rest of the shop. And we've got glue traps around here for mice. And so unfortunately, Miss Kitty got into a glue trap. She's got a sticky tail and a sticky paw. So we had to give her a bath and then rub some sawdust on her to try and get the sticky stuff off. So anyways, I mentioned earlier that I will not be feeding the sheep behind the shop till later today. Reason being, I want to catch those girls. We have one ewe in there, Beatrice, that is showing some symptoms of parasite infestation. So she's getting a little bit of fluid swelling underneath the jaw. It's called bottle jaw. It's a really good indication of barber pole worm. So we're going to give her a shot of ivermectin here later today. This is something we don't do. We don't have a regular deworming program. Some vets will advise to do that. We don't do that simply because we treat the individual animal as necessary as the symptoms arise, rather than continue to treat with Ivomec, and then eventually, unfortunately, the worms develop kind of a resistance to it, and then you got to use stronger and stronger and stronger drugs all the time. So we'll just treat the animals as they show any kind of symptoms. We did treat everybody in the spring before they went out to pasture, simply because of body conditioning. Just coming off of lambs, everybody was pretty thin, and then heading out to pasture, there's always a risk of increased anemia. So we treated everybody, but she's the only one that's come back in with any kind of, you know, indications that maybe there's still some worms there. So I'll give her a shot of that when Charlotte goes for a nap, because trying to herd sheep with a 2-year-old isn't conducive to success. You're wondering how much of this stuff to give. This is 1 mil per 50 kilograms. So we just got a little bit in the top of the syringe there, as you can see. Short needle, because it's just a sub-Q injection. You don't want to jab it in the muscle, and you definitely don't want to put it in the bloodstream. I'm not really sure why. I mean, but it's written in bold on the bottle. You probably don't actually want to do that. So we just usually right up in the shoulder by the neck, just pull the wool back, pull the skin, a little poke, boom, done. I got a bucket of grain just stashed on the back of the tractor back there. I'm gonna catch the horses in the little pens over here, and then take the round bale way out and put the net on it, so I don't have to get out and fork it every single day. That hay net was actually a Christmas present for Carmen a couple years ago, but I think in reality it's been more of a Christmas present to me, because we can set that bale out there and I don't have to come out here, and you know, it's 5 minutes every day over the year, adds up quite a bit that I don't have to come out and fork hay over the horses. So it's definitely a win. I just wish it was good for a 6-foot male, and then I wouldn't have to do any forking. But in this, you know, in previous years, what we've actually done is just take the whole bale out there and fork 2 or 3 days worth of hay off and just fork it around and throw the net on. That works too. But typically then they just trample that stuff and they don't eat it down really well, so you're kind of wasting a bit. All right, so we got Beatrice caught here, and you can see underneath her jaw right here, right there, there's this hard lump. And so that's what I'm concerned with. It could be a sign of barber pole worms. So what we'll do, like I said, just got my syringe, and right in her neck, right underneath the skin, we'll just give her a little poke underneath the skin, and she'll be good to go and carry on. I like to do it when she's in the sitting position like this, just because the sitting position really encourages compliance, reduces the amount of fight that they'll have. Just a little poke. Always, always, always want to make sure the cap goes back on, so you don't poke yourself. Safety first, right? And away you go. Good girl. So this here is June. June's a bit of a different duck. June is actually our nephew's sheep. She's a bottle lamb, and she's a bit retarded, to be honest. She's just never learned how to be a sheep, and so when she came to the farm, we introduced her to our ewes. She had no idea how to do sheep stuff. And so when you're looking for a sheep that's not well, you know, you're looking for abnormal behavior. It's a little bit more difficult when you're dealing with a sheep that just has abnormal behavior all the time. Sheep being a herd animal, they're tough to, it's tough to tell when they're sick because they hide it right? Because the predatory thing that just says, you know what, if I show that I'm sick, the wolves are gonna come pick me off. So they're really good at hiding it until they're like really sick. So today when I first came out, she was up by the shop and was laying by the water trough. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. Got her up, she walked around, okay. Then just a few moments ago, I came and she was laying behind the shelter. So right behind the shelter is like the fence. Like there's literally only about 12 inches of space there. She went back there and laid down. So I got her scooped out of there. And now she's come into here and is laying in the shelter. So now this is normal sheep behavior for a sick sheep. So I want to treat this. So I'm going to give her a shot of dewormer, and I'm also going to give her a beer just to get the rumination process going. And we'll check in on her in the morning. Anyway, Charlotte and I are just going to read Five Little Ducks, which is a heartwarming story about neglecting your children. So anyways, we hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.